Right. So starting Be'ez Hashem Siman Nun Hey in haGuela Val Tmura. Okay, so in the previous Siman, he was talking about the idea of getting rid of Avodah Zarah. That when the Torah says when the Yidden conquered Eretz Yisrael, they had an obligation to knock down all the, houses of idol worship. So there was an Or Chaim HaKadosh that he quoted in Parshas Mishpatim. Or Chaim HaKadosh. It's interesting to see it inside because I brought it over here on the shelf here. Basically, the pasuk says in the end of Mishpatim, it says, "Lo yishtachaveh le'Eloheihem," don't bow to their gods. "V'lo yisavdem," don't worship them. "V'lo yisaseh k'ma'aseihem," and don't do as they do. "Ki hares teharseim," but rather destroy them. "V'shaber teshaber matzivoiseim," and knock down their altars. So the Or Chaim asks, Zarach l'das, lama hutzrach l'tzavois l'zeh. Why did the Torah need to command them not to worship idols? Isn't it like all over the Torah, not to worship idols? Why all of a sudden is it saying it here? Achar shehizir kama azharas al kir zeh. Many times it commanded this, v'al adoim aloi, and similar things. And just earlier in the same parsha Mishpatim, Hizir afilu al bal yisto eshvoisam al sfasav. He says, don't even mention the names of the idols. Yizkru shmam hazulas. Don't cause another person to say the name. You're not even allowed to go into business with a non-Jew who's going to say the name of his idol. So, if he's going to say it because of you, and go into a court case with him and make him swear on his Bible or whatever. Im kain ma makam oid ala avoda. So what would be the room to even think that that worshiping is allowed? That the Torah should have to say this. So he says a couple other answers first, but before the end he says like this. Hagimel. The third answer is liyoy sharatza v'tzavois al harisasam. The Torah was about to command to destroy them. Ki hares teharseim, destroy the idols. The shivronim and the breaking of them. Lazeh kadam loymar. Therefore, it says first lo yishtachaveh. It says don't bow to them. Loymar, to say sheim loy haras for loy shiber. If you didn't destroy it or break it, hinehu ke'ovid avodah zarah. It's as if he himself did the avodah zarah. Why? Ki Hashem toifes al machshava ba'avodah zarah. That there's a rule in the rest of the Torah. Hashem doesn't blame you for thoughts. You think about doing an aveira, Hashem doesn't blame you for it. But the avodah zarah, if you're planning to do the aveira, even if you didn't actually end up doing it, Hashem blames you for it. Utzrichim heker l'shlilas machshavas avodah zarah milibam. Therefore, you need to show. It's not enough that you're not actually thinking about doing it, but you have to show the outside world that you're not thinking about it. And the way you show it, ein heker ela b'shaver matzivoiseim. The only way to show it is by breaking their altars down. If they don't do that, they're as if they did avodah zarah. And this will be the sign that they're not thinking about it. That's why the Torah first says don't bow to them, but rather destroy them. To tell you, if you don't have the breaking down, it's as if you transgressed worshipping them. The Timsa, and he ends off, he says, and you'll find Shehikpid Hashem al Yisrael, that Hashem was angry at the Jewish people, that they didn't do what they were supposed to when they came into the world. And this Or Chaim puts on a Maramakom Shoiftim Beis. Sefer Shoiftim Beis, which I brought over here, says that they finished conquering the land, and in Perek Aleph Shoiftim it lists all the places that they didn't conquer. And then, you see there's quite a few of them. And then, Pitel Bey starts, Vayal Malach Hashem Mina Gilgal El Aboichim. An angel of Hashem, which Rashi says is really not an angel, really a Navi, came up from Gilgal. And the Navi was Pinchas. And he came up and he said, Vayomer Ale Eschem Mitzrayim. I brought you out of Mitzrayim. Va'avi Eschem El Arts. I brought you to Eretz Yisrael. Asher nishbati la'avoseichem, which I promised to your fathers. V'oimar, and I said to you, Lo offer brisi itchem lo'elam. I will never annul my covenant with you. V'atem lo yisichrusu v'ris diyosh arts. But don't make a covenant with the people of this land. Ha'arts hazois. Mizbechoisehem titoitzun. Destroy their altars. V'lo shematem b'koil, but you didn't answer. You didn't listen to my voice. Ma zois asisim. What is this you have done? Okay, so this is what the Or HaChaim is saying, that you see that they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They did a lot of it. I mean, they did get rid of a lot of the nations and their idols, but there were a few places they left over, and Hashem was makpid on them for that. All right, so let's go back down to the Sefer. So what the Rebbe showed from this in the previous Siman Nun Daled, was that really, there's a few Kedushim. There's actually doing idol worship. Then there's thinking about idol worship, which the Gemara says is Aser, and not only Aser, but it's, you get blamed for it. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh is adding on another level, that if you don't break it down, then it looks to other people as if you don't get rid of it from your thoughts. So you're blamed for that too. And then he said, therefore the spies that Yehoshua sent, the two spies that went to Yericho, they had to disguise themselves. They couldn't come out openly and say, we're Jewish spies, but don't worry, we're not destroying any idols now. They couldn't say that because it's usher to say that. You're not allowed to pretend that you're not going to destroy the idol. And now, in the beginning of Nun Hey, he's going to go a step further. V'raya brura lazeh. We have a proof to this. Gemara Soita Daf Lamed Dalet and Aleph, and really it's more than a proof. You're going to see. Al pasuk ki atem oivrim es Yarden. When you cross the Yarden, you go into Eretz Yisrael. V'ibadatem eis kol maski oisam, and you shall destroy all the Nevin Maskis is a big tiled floor on which they bowed to the idols. V'eis kol tamei masei choisam, and all the statues of the molten statues, tiabedu, you shall destroy. So now the Gemara comments, what's this word Yarden? When you cross the Yarden, what does that have to do with anything? So the Gemara comments, it says this, Oidam b'Yarden. The story was that when they were standing in the Jordan River, the Jordan split for them, and they were standing with this big wall of water next to them, and as they were standing in the riverbed, Amar lahem Yeshua said to the people, Du'u, you should know, Alma atem oivim es Yarden. What is your intent with this crossing of the Yarden? Shenamar v'hoirashtem. It says, kick out the people who are there and destroy their idols. Imatem oisim kain. If you're ready to do that, mutav. Good. The water will come down if you don't do it. If you don't have in mind to do it, never mind not doing it. They're holding right now in the Jordan. They haven't done anything yet. But if they think about not doing it, the water will crash down on their heads. The Rebbe says when they were in the Yarden, they weren't able to actually destroy any idols. They couldn't transgress this mitzvah yet. V'al kain, he's hiram. So v'al korchach, it must be he's hiram Yehoshua afal machshava, that he's making them, he's warning them and telling them not even to have a thought of not doing it. Kedin avodah zarah, similar to avodah zarah, shenashim alecha afal machshava. That just like actual worship, you're punished even for thought. So here you're punished for the thought of not destroying it. So you hear the four really levels of Chedushim here. First of all, it's not allowed to think that you're going to do idol worship. Second of all, not the Or HaChaim HaKadosh is not destroying the idol is like thinking that you're going to do it. Level 3 is the spies weren't allowed to pretend that they weren't going to do it. And number 4 is if you have a thought about the future that you're not going to do it, even if right now you're not able to do it, but you have a thought about the future, and they weren't going to think that they were going to worship idols. No way. They were thinking, okay, we're going to be good Jews, but we're just not going to destroy the idols. Even that is enough to be chayav and oynish. So now we come back to the Zionists. That when the Zionists conquered. And when any Jew conquers a place in Eretz Yisrael, and they have sovereignty over a place of idol worship, and they don't destroy it, for that they're considered as if they did the avodah zarah too. So obviously it's better not to conquer it. I mean, obviously the Rebbe is not advocating that people should conquer and destroy idols to bisman hazeh. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that it's better not to conquer it. Even if you don't hold of my other sefer and the shalshuas and whatever you want, don't get into this mess. Don't conquer something and then get into an extra veil that you don't need. Not only they don't destroy it, Misrad Hadassos, the Israeli government's Office of Religions, Ministry of Religions, they promised Sheyekaimu Isam. I mentioned they changed the name now. I think they call it Misrad Hadas. They just one religion. They realized it didn't sound good. So, but in any case, Sheyekaimu Isam. They promised to keep them in good condition. B'chol hakavod v'hazahiris. Give it all the honor and all the care. V'hachi nikra shmoi Misrad Hadas. It's called the Ministry of Religions, B'lashon Rabim, al shehem doigim l'kiyim kol hadassos, because they're careful to keep all the religions going. V'avodah zarah sheba'olam, all the avodah zarahs in the world, they all have like an outpost in the state of Israel. They're keeping them all going. Uv'chol rega v'rega shemekayim moisam, every minute that they're keeping them going, harehem oivrim al iser noira, they're transgressing a terrible prohibition. Shal avodah zarah shu kol Torah kula uviyaharg v'al it's something that you have to be killed rather than do. Kasher biyarti b'sifri v'yom v'ayshayin sham. V'eich ef shalahamis. So now, you guys who say the 6-day war was a mitzvah, how could you say that? Eich ef shalahamis. How could you load that into the Torah? V'lomer shahayim milchamtum al pi Torah, and say the milchama was obligatory according to the Torah. Okay. Now we're switching subjects, and he's going to talk about how these religious Zionists make up stuff to make Zionism look good. He says, "V'doim elazeh." We find a similar case in history. B'asinu b'igeres Taimon, in the letter to Yemen, Shekasav Rambam Zal, that the Rambam wrote this letter in the time when the government of Yemen was forcing Jews to convert to Islam. And there were a lot of people that were giving in, people who were not giving in, people didn't know what to do, and their lives were not lives. They were suffering. And they wrote a letter to the Rambam to ask them what to do and to ask them for chizuk. So take a look at this portion that he's about to quote. Just in the first line of the paragraph first. Still in haGuela. Shahayu biyamav me'aposhim. There were some Jews who were like converts to Islam. Shehichnisu b'leiv hamoin, and they convinced the masses shenavi hayishmaelim, that the prophet of the Muslims merumaz b'Torah, he's hinted at in the Torah. The pasuk v'arba oisoi b'me'oid me'oid. By the pasuk about Yishmael, that it says that Hashem will increase him very greatly. So me'oid sounds a little like Mohammed, right? So of course they said, shehu muhmad shem rishayim yirkav. Okay, so v'yoid psukim achim, other psukim also they found to convince people that Muslims are foretold in the Torah, similar to the Christians that they do, right? They also found psukim in the Torah. So take a look. What in the world is this? So looking at the Igeres Taimon inside here, that you mentioned something about a Posheya, which the footnote says it means a Yehudi Mumar, a Jew who converted to Islam. Shehevi Rayos to Islam. He brought proofs to Islam. Shehevi b'nei Adam Lachsha. He convinced people. Shebi Mo'oid Mo'oid Hu Meshuga. The word Mo'oid Mo'oid refers to Muhammad, who is called the Meshuga. That's like the code word for Muhammad in Jewish books. V'chein Amru Hoifia Mehar Paran. The pasuk, it says he appeared from the mountains of Paran, which is Arabia. Roy Mez Elav. It refers to him. V'chein Amru when the Torah says Navi mikirbecha mi'achecha kamoini. Moshe Rabbeinu promised there'll be a Navi from among you like me. V'chein Yidoi Lishmael, and also the promise of the Torah to Yishmael, U'nesativ l'goy gadol, I will make him a great nation. Elu inyanim. So those are the psukim that this guy found as a premise to Islam. So the Rambam says, Elu inyanim usim ma'oid mimisha amram. These are disgusting things. These are things that don't make any sense. V'lo ye'omer bohem shehem betachlis hachulsha. I'm not only going to say that they're weak proofs. He says, but to make a proof out of them is to choik v'la gomer. It's just a joke. By the way, I heard another Muslim told me a proof. He said there's a pasuk kuloi machmadim in Shir Shirim. chikoy mamtakim kuloi machmadim. Also, he wanted to say that's Muhammad. Kitzer, anyway, and they also said, you know what they said? They said, I hallow. What does it say? Evan masu aboinim vaisal rosh pina. They also darshan that on Mohammed. Anyway, so he says like this. It's a schok. It's a joke. Vehem inyanim lo yachnisu safek klal. No one would have any doubt about these things. Vafilu etzel hamoin amei haaretz ve'aburim. Even the unlearned Jews, no one would think that these things are proofs. Ve'apoishim atzmam, and even these Jewish converts to Islam, asher yatu bohem, that they use them as a tool to convince people. Lo yachshavu kain. They don't really believe it themselves. V'lo yisupku aleim. They don't even have a doubt. Ulam yichavnu lispire. What's their why they do it then? Why they make them up? Well, hispire, to pride themselves. In other words, to kiss up. The elu hamamori meitzel agoyim, to make themselves look more like reliable. What do you call it? Loyal Muslims. The sheyiru lahem shehem imsu masha bekalam. That people should show them that they'll show the Muslims that they really truly adopted their religion. Masha b'kaloin, something that b'kaloin. The kaloin means like a disparaged, lowly thing, something that people reject. Or so on the bottom he says it's a kinoi mekubal b'fi haYehudim b'oisim hayamim l'Koran. They call the Koran the kaloin. It's code words. They'll say, look, the Meshuggah is written in the Torah. Muhammad is written in the Torah. I hope this shiur doesn't get out to the Muslims. I could be in trouble. Anyway, so even the Muslims didn't believe in these proofs. And they won't bring it as a raya. The real Muslims won't bring these proofs. That the loss in doing so is very great, because obviously you'll show people that you're a fool. When they find that there's no real source for what they're saying in the Torah, not written and not imagined, nothing to even think is a source. So what did the Muslims really say? He says, Hami roistem ha-Torah v'shinisem oisa. Oh, that's the real Muslim answer to the Torah. You guys do change your Torah. We have the real one, or maybe we don't have the real one, but basically the one that the Jews have today is not the real one. V'atem mechazkim shem ploini mechaktem shem ploini mimena. You erased the name of Pliny, of Muhammad, from the Torah. So basically, these guys who are kissing up to the Muslims are making up proofs that the Muhammad is in the Torah, but he's not. And the real Muslims just say that the Jews erased it. That was their best argument. Even though it's a very bad argument, and the reason why it's wrong is obvious to everybody. Why? So the Rambam because the Torah was copied into Syrian, which he says it means Aramaic. It was written in Aramaic, via Parsi, and also in Persian, via Yavanim, and also in Greek, which is the Septuagint, via Loyazi, he says in the bottom it means Latin. Koidim she'amad apostle, Me'o shanim, many hundreds of years before this apostle stood up. So we know that it can't be true that the Jews changed the Torah to make Muhammad go out of the Torah, because if it was changed 1,000 years earlier, whatever, I don't know, about 1,000 years. V'oid biyoisa Kabbalah rabim me rabim. It's also true that the Torah is a Kabbalah from generation to generation, from a great number of people passing down to a great number of people. But Mizrach ha'aretz u'v'ma'arava, all over the world, east and west, places that never heard of Islam also have the Torah. There's no difference between the Torah that's written in Bavel and the Torah that's written in Italy or in any other part of the world. Even the nekudas, even the vowels on the Torah are not different. And certainly not the subject of the Torah. And the only reason why the Muslims said this ridiculous argument is rak heder pasuk medama b'Torah, because they had no real pasuk that referred to Muhammad. So he's just showing that they don't really accept these psukim anyway. Then he goes on. The Rambam even takes the time to slug up the rayas. Look what he says. V'hu she'amru goy gadol. This that Yishmael is going to become a great nation. Ein writes gedulas hanavua. It doesn't mean he'll become great in prophecy. V'loy gedulas hadas. Doesn't mean he'll have a great religion. Avaroiv mispar levad. It just means he'll have a great large nation, many people. Ukvar Amar al oivdei avodah zarah. It says on the people who worship idols, goyim gedolim batzumim. The Canaanim were great numerous nations. V'chein amru b'ma'od ma'od. It says also the same words b'ma'od ma'od asher inyanoi harbe harbe ilu. The Torah, when it says the words harbe ma'od ma'od, ilu kivein sheyetze mimenu ploini. If it meant that Muhammad was going to come out of them, ha'eloi loymar uveirachtiv b'ma'od ma'od. It should have said, I will bless them very much. Then someone could make a spider web connection and say, yeah, this is Muhammad. I'll bless them that this guy will come out of them. If it says I will increase them very much, obviously it doesn't mean he'll bless them that they'll have a navi. It means he'll increase them. It means they'll have a great number. Okay, stop here. So look back into the haGuela now. So the Rambam, he takes time to answer the questions of these converts to Islam. V'oid psukim acher ma'in sham. V'torach harambam zal. The Rambam takes the trouble levarer ulehoichiach to prove shekol divreim betelim that all their words are nonsense. Ve'en bohem mamish. There's nothing to them. It looks like many people in Yemen at that time were believing in these things. And the Rambam had to come and counteract that and say, all the things they say are just a joke. They don't cause any doubt in anybody's mind. See his golden language. And the Rambam himself says afterwards, that the real Muslims don't believe in these proofs. They know it's not true. These converts to Islam also don't believe in the Torah. So what's the point of bringing proof from the Torah? The reason for these converts, these Jewish converts, why they do it, to show how loyal they are to the goyim, to prove that they really believe in Islam, to find grace in their eyes. So now back to our subject. The real Zionists, the secular leaders like Ben Gurion and Eshkol and all these people, they don't even believe in the Torah in the first place. And they're constantly fighting the Torah as hard as they can, and against keeping the Torah. They never asked anybody to bring proofs to their war from the Torah. They never tried to make their war fit in with the Torah. It's just as religious, nachschleppers, the people who are like, followers of Zionism, imitators of Zionism. They're the ones who want to flatter them and kiss up to them for limtzoi chen beineim gam kedei limashech, right? So that's why they make up proofs from the Torah. Number one, and also gam kedei limashech v'litvois b'rishtam rabbi mimnei Yisrael hatamimim haroitzim b'derech haTorah kedosha. They want to go and catch the Jews who do believe in the Torah and make them into Zionists too. Al kain ma'amisim b'divrei haposkim. That's why they come and they try to read into the poskim of divrei haTorah kedosha dvarim asher lo kain, things that are wrong, as we explained. So it's a little different from the Muslim converts. Those Muslim converts didn't believe in the Torah either, and they were just saying it to convince people. But these religious Zionists really do believe in their proofs. But why are they making proofs to what the secular Zionists are doing? Because they want to show that they're also Zionists. And also, like he says, they want to attract people to the movement. Today, you see it's becoming the main thing, right? That nobody could put together an Israeli government except for with the help of the religious parties and the ultra-Zionist parties that are in the government now. Because these are the people who are really dedicated to it. So from being imitators, they went from that and to being the real, the only Zionists who are willing to continue the fight, unfortunately. Okay, v'kasav b'sefer HaKadosh degel machan Ephraim, b'parshas Maseh, sheshama me avi zekenoi habesh zechusi yogan aleinu. He was an Einakol of the Baal Shem Tov, so he says, I heard from my great-great-grandfather, the Baal Shem Tov, ki b'torah seinu hakdoisha yesh mayim mesukim u'mayim hamorim, that there's a way for people to make a mistake in the Torah. They can learn Torah and come out with the wrong conclusions. There's what he calls the sweet waters of Torah and the bitter waters of Torah. V'urei shekol hatanoim v'hoamoraim v'atzadikim. He says all the great people from the past, the Tanoim, Amoraim, Tzadikim, Mimois Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Hashalom, from the time of Moshe down to us, the Shiyu Ad Shiyava Mashiach, all the way until Mashiach comes. Kulam Lemdim Mina Torah Derech Yishkon Or LaAvoda Saboyis Baruch Shmoi. That all those tzaddikim are learning from the Torah the ways to serve Hashem, the good way. Ulehepech, but on the other hand, Kol Apikorsim Yimach Shemam Mevim Ra'im Mina Torah Atzma Lehepech. They also bring the Torah, but they bring it to the opposite direction. Ukemoy Harbe Inyanim Haniskarim B'Gemara Min Atzdukim. Like we find the Gemara also talks about what the Apikorsim did with the Torah. They said, like we have Pesach coming up, they said that the second day of Pesach has to fall on a Sunday, right? They said Makar is Shabbos. Shabbos is the first day of Pesach, so the second day of Pesach is on a Sunday, and if it's not on a Sunday, then we wait until that the following Sunday to bring the Korban Omer. So they didn't count Sfira until a few days after Pesach sometimes. Anyway, so it's an example of the Tzdukim had ways to touch up the Torah differently. There's also a bitter side to the Torah that you could get the wrong ideas from it. Uvedegel machan Ephraim parshas b'shalach al pasuk vayavoyu marasa. It says the Jewish people came to the place called Mara, the bitter waters. Herich gamkein be'inyan zeh. He speaks about this too. V'siyem, and he threw the stick into it and it became sweet. So he says v'siyem v'zel l'shoyno v'al pizeh tavin masha omar avi yadoni zakeni. The Baal Shem Tov said, Zichron Livracha al Maimer Chazal, on what Chazal say, Nadarim Pei Aleph Amid Aleph. Mipnei Ma Charva Yerushalayim. Why was Jerusalem destroyed? Al Shaloi Berach B'Torah Tchila, because they didn't make the bracha before learning Torah. You're supposed to make the bracha. You make two brachas before you learn. You make V'Harav Noah and Amalam Torah L'Amo Yisrael, and you make Asher Bachar Banu. So he says like this: V'Amar Huzal Hainu Shaloi Berchu Birkas V'Harav Noah. They didn't make the bracha of V'Harav Noah, make the Torah sweet in our mouths. Shehu bracha Rishayim Shemavarchim Al Torah B'Boker. It's the first bracha we make before learning Torah in the morning. V'Hu Pella. So the Baal Shem Tov said that, right? Baal Shem Tov said they didn't make the bracha. It means they didn't make that first bracha. They made the second bracha. They made Asher Bachar Banu. They just didn't make the Harav Noah. So he says, "V'hu Pella." It's strange. Why did the Baal Shem Tov say that? Omnam Yuvan, but the answer is Al Pi Anal, based on what we just said, that there's good to the Torah and there's bitterness. Shetzarich Lispalel, and before a Yid sits down to learn Torah, he has to daven to Hashem ulevakesh al zeh meis Hashem yisbarach sheyitoim b'torasei tam hamayim hamisukim v'harevim, that you should taste the sweetness of the Torah. So people think it means that I should like learning Torah, make Torah exciting and happy to me, so that I should want to learn more of it. But he's saying a different shot now. He's saying it means v'harav Noah, let me find the emes in the Torah, find the sweet path in the Torah. V'zehu birkas v'harav Noah v'havein. So by Yerushalayim, when it was destroyed, when the second base of Mikdash was destroyed, it was because they didn't make the bracha. Meaning, what does it mean? It means that they took the Torah the wrong way. There were groups then, like the Stukim and the ones who were becoming Romanized. Those people also believed in Torah, but they took the Torah the wrong way. It's also written in the Zohar, Ayin Sham, Kol Eila Dibru Mihat Stukim should be Maneim. This, the Machne Ephraim, the Degel Machne Ephraim, says about the Stukim that were in the time of Chazal. Shehem Minu B'Torah, they were better than the Zionists, because the Zionists don't believe in anything. But Stukim at least believed Shehem Minu B'Torah should be Chsav. They at least believed in the written Torah. Ella Shaloi Haminu B'Divrei Razal. They didn't believe in Chazal, the Kabbalasim, and Chazal's Messiah. They brought proofs from the text of the Torah to their opinions. These heretics of today, they don't even believe in the Torah that's written. They don't even want to bring a proof from it. You can never find, actually you will. Sometimes Bibi gets up and says, the Torah was, says that the state of Israel belongs to the Jewish people for 4,000 years. You'll find that once in a while. Ben Gurion also talked about the Torah when it was convenient for him. But he says, generally speaking, they don't bring proofs from the Torah. They don't bring proofs from the Torah. They don't even drink from the bitter waters of the Torah. Okay, so who does? It's only these religious Zionists who are kind of like latecomers to the movement that jumped on the bandwagon. These people, they want to find, favor in the eyes of the Zionists. Then they open up the Chumash, and they open up the Torah, they open up the Gemara, and they try to find sources for them. The waters that are cursed. To overturn the words of Hashem, and to pervert them into the way of meanness. But don't let anybody convince you that that's the truth.